Hi. The reason for this video is to implore and encourage all of my friends, family and acquaintances to not purchase anything, zip, zero, zilch, nothing. On January 3rd, 2018, we are protesting Family Court and the fact that they do not stand up for the best interests of children, and also that CPS, Child Predator Services, is not doing what's in the best interest of children. I hope you'll join me and Punish for Protecting January 3rd, 2018. Please message me if you have any other questions. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Welcome to Punish for Protecting Live.
Hey, thank you, Ted.
You're welcome.
So today we have the U.S. Marshals are in hot pursuit of Sandra Grazzini-Rucchi, and we're on the phone with Sandra today, as well as with Michael Volpe. I am going to be turning this over to Michael to do most of the explaining of what's going on. I just want to reiterate to everyone, and thank you so much for showing the clip that Lara did of the 3 to 5, promoting our big event, Global Citizens Arrest Day, January 3rd, 2018. I can't emphasize it enough. I need all of you to do a 3 to 5. Get the word out. Our message is being spread far and wide. I am getting media attention now from the Ukraine, from the UK, New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, and the list just goes on and on. I'm getting messages from people that are sending me back media clips of people who don't even know who I am, and they're talking about this woman, Francesca, from the USA. This is great news. However, we know that this is really sad news, that this is such a global issue, one that we, the people, must make happen, must make stop. So don't forget, guys, January 3rd, 2018, absolutely no purchasing of anything whatsoever. We have to shut this down worldwide. I just court watched this morning in another state, and all I have to say is this is diabolical, especially before Christmas, what these judges are doing and how they're violating our laws all over the place. And they sit there with this brazen, narcissistic attitude. But we'll get into that episode another time, and I'm going to turn this over now to Michael Volpe. Thank you so much for being on today, Michael.
Thank you for having me. All right, so I'm going to set this up, and then Sam will explain what happened. So I think it was not this previous Friday, but the Friday before then,
Michael, can I get your attention just for a second? Can you push your camera back, because I can't even see your eyes? Okay. If you could get your whole head in the picture, move it back just a hair. That would be really even more so, even further, a little bit.
There you go.
Okay.
Like that.
That's pretty good.
All right.
Look good.
Wait. So I got a call at like around 9:30 my time, and I'm Central, and I don't know where you're at right now or then. And you were pretty frightened. You've actually probably been more frightened in your life. But you described that you were out to dinner with friends. She was out to dinner with friends, and I want to mention that's very rare for her. I'm not even sure how that happened. And one of her friends wound up being a U.S. Marshal. And so, do you want to explain what happened at the dinner?
I didn't really, she didn't really realize who I was, and we just started talking. And the whole thing went down. All of a sudden, she realized who I was, and that she was being. Well, I thought it was a I thought this man was a plumber, and it turned out that he turned out to be a marshal.
Wait, hold on. Let me just. She was breaking up a little bit. One of her friends who she was out with, she thought her friend was a plumber, but he turned out to be a U.S. Marshal, and he didn't realize who she was. And I think the reason is because your formal name is Sandra, but everyone calls you Sam, right?
Yeah, that was probably right. You probably didn't even associate it. That's what I was, and then the description that he was telling me was described of who I was. Everybody, like, he knew me as. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what did he say? They described it. So basically what happened was this guy was given a profile of someone they were chasing, and the profile was so violent and so dangerous that he didn't realize it was his friend. And also because she goes by Sam, and they probably used her formal name, he didn't put two and two together. So here they are at dinner. She thinks he's a plumber. He's really a U.S. Marshal. He's now telling her that he knows of an operation to get her, and the reason he couldn't put two and two together is because the description given to him is nothing like the person he knows. Did I get that right?
Yeah, I mean, I was a horrific, horrible, violent criminal. I mean, just a danger. And he's like, what? I mean, I think that's where the whole confusion was in. You know, okay?
Yeah, they can. All right, so he was. What was described to him was a vicious, violent criminal, and that's why I didn't put two and two together. So after you all figured out what was happening, what happened next?
He was basically was like to protect me the best he could. And he ended up, I have a liberty call, so they weren't going to leave me at any place that I had gone previously. They simply got me to a safe house to keep me safe.
All right, let me interrupt. So anybody who didn't hear that, so he risked his life. This Marshal risked his life, and put Sam in a safe house in a place that no one would know about. And so he goes from having dinner on Friday night to finding out she's being chased by the federal marshals to being like swept into a safe house. So what was your Friday night like? You know what I mean? All right.
Yeah, right.
What happened from there?
And it found many women and men out there, but it shows that they had a lot to hide. I think that this was kind of a evaluation experience to this guy, because he told one thing by the government, and then he's getting a chance for himself firsthand to see that when he's being killed, he was taught a lie, and he's supposed to execute it.
Right, and so basically you've been hidden even more ever since, correct?
Yeah.
Now I want to. Is there a warrant out for your arrest?
No, there is no warrant.
Are you Are there any outstanding warrants anywhere for you? So it's hard to hear. I want everyone to understand. There's no warrant for her arrest. She's not supposed to be in jail. There is a criminal case involving her. However, the appeals court overturned something. And so right now, what it means is there is no sentence, there's nothing. So this marshal was being told something by the U.S. Marshals, even though there's no reason for them to be involved at all. All right? They've got a manhunt like she's dangerous, and there's not even a warrant. They're not supposed to be a warrant. She's done nothing, and yet she's being chased by the federal government. All right? That's to the level we're at. Anything else you want to add?
In my opinion, I think they're just setting it up to come down in case the state of Minnesota wants to come after me again to try to silence me quicker.
All right. All right. So what Sam? Hold on. Yeah. Let me explain. What she believes is the marshals are putting themselves in place for the moment when there will be a warrant. So, like she's a master criminal, they're doing like months of reconnaissance to prepare themselves for the moment that there will be a warrant. And by the way, she has like less than 2 months left to serve, which she would have already served a long time ago if the judge in her case had just let her serve it. But the judge in her case made her serve it chunks at a time. And because that was a ridiculous ruling, it's since been overturned. But basically, all of this setup that they're saying the U.S. Marshals are doing is for a very short prison sentence, which would already be over if not for the court and the judge. Now, does it seem reasonable that the U.S. Marshals would be doing all of this for such a low-level crime? That I ask you. Why do you think that's happening on something so small? Okay, so the second thing, hold on, I'm going to get her back. The second thing I wanted to talk about is I got a document which shows that her ex-husband, while the divorce was ongoing, was involved in massive mortgage fraud. Hey, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so listen, we're gonna talk about the mortgage fraud. So basically, here's what this guy did. He would foreclose on his property, have it go up for sale, create a shell company which would buy it, then remove the bank that would get the mortgage, foreclose on it again, and keep getting the money. It was basically mass theft that could be at least $1 million. So, Sam, explain what you know about it.
Basically, I was in the so-called divorce, or the second court-ordered divorce. I was ordered the home. And then I was given one of the homes, like I said, we got 4 homes. She was given 3 homes. I was given 1 home in Judge Knitz's his court-ordered divorce. Within 5 days after him ordering me the house, he kicked me out of my home after he just given it to me, threw me out in the streets, told me I had to pay for it even though I had no money, took away the home and signed it over to my ex-husband. Then proceeded to order me to pay the rest of the mortgage and continue payments on it after he'd awarded it that 4th and final home to David Rucky. Then we found out about the mortgage fraud and what he had been doing with 2 of the properties, one in Farmington, Minnesota, and one in Lakeville, Minnesota. And the one that we'll be talking about now is the one on 19675 Idaho State. Well, we discovered mortgage fraud because he kept putting it into foreclosure and then taking it out and doing all these things. So we contacted numerous people who then went in to confirm to get documents. And it was, I'm telling you, like earlier, it wasn't easy to even get the documents because this is how much everything was being convoluted. But we were able to get a good amount.
Okay, so basically they committed the sophisticated mortgage fraud, which is effectively theft, by constantly over and over again putting this property into foreclosure and taking the money on both sides. And this was happening like 5 and 6 times in the span of a 1.5 to 2 years. And anyone,
6 times he did it.
Yeah, now, when you do this, there's a title company, there are lawyers, there are banks involved, and by the fourth or fifth or sixth time, they should see what's happening because it's all documented. And you learned that if you were to go down to the county and try to pull the records for all of this, would you find any of these records?
No. At that time when we found out about the mortgage fraud and we put it to the courts, we reported it to Judge Knudsen, we reported to everybody. I had gone with Dale Nathan down to the Hastings Records Department. And Dale knew what he was. Dale, the former attorney, was to refer Dale Nathan's name. And he knew exactly what he was looking for. And he actually took the file up to the court and said, what's going on? This is a bunch of rubbish. Where are the documents? Why is all this smoke in here? I want the documents. So we would have called another case to show her this is what it should look like. Why do all the other places look like this? But this one home with Rocky's name looks like this, basically. And she couldn't explain it. So there was a realtor involved, and they dug into the documents, and they were able to pull even more stuff up and took it to their bosses at a big-time realtor firm, and they said, this is so blatant obvious of mortgage fraud. And they actually, that real estate firm actually reported it to the state of Minnesota and to Dakota County, so they were actually located to let them know that David Rucky was doing this, and it was still ignored. Okay,
so you reported it, a real estate firm reported it, attorneys reported it, basically and now I've reported it. And what I want to say is I received documents. So these documents no longer exist with the county. They just happen to exist in cyberspace. And what it shows is this scheme, because you see like the foreclosure and the sale and who it goes to and how it keeps getting transferred. And it's basically a Ponzi scheme because nobody's actually paying for any of this. And the money just keeps getting filtered to him multiple times. And they are ignoring this mortgage fraud. It's absolutely remarkable. Go ahead.
His mortgage on all four of those homes. This is the strangest thing that Judge Knudsen did. He awarded all the property and all the cars and everything to Rucky, my ex-husband, David Rucky, and I'm court-ordered to pay all the payments. I mean, I'm court-ordered for the mortgages. I'm court-ordered for the car payments. I'm court-ordered for all that. Can you explain how that went down?
Right. So, Judge David Knudsen and their
my credit, right.
Right. Let me explain it. All right. So he ordered her ex-husband to get all of their real estate and their multiple classic cars, but any of those that were financed, he ordered Sam to pay the mortgage payments every month or the car loan if it had one. So all of these properties, the mortgages for them wind up on her credit, not his. And yet he's having them foreclosed on and then taking out new mortgages, not in his name, in the name of a shell company, which ends up going back to him. And multiple people report this to the county, to the prosecutor, to the attorney general, to the court, and none of them do anything. This guy is doing not only sophisticated mortgage fraud, but it's brazen mortgage fraud, it's mass scale mortgage fraud, and at the same time he's committing mortgage fraud, he's claiming he's really, really poor. At the same time that the court gives him everything. So it's quite startling what is being covered up and what is being looked the other way on when you look at this mortgage fraud. And as I said, I received it's basically a 31-page dossier of this, and that was just in the last, I think last night that I got it. And so the dossier speaks for itself. You can see what he's doing. It's clear. And I put that on Facebook if somebody wants to find it. All right. You want to add anything?
Yeah, we've got repeated crimes, and that's what's so confusing about us. We have shown his criminal actions. We've shown his violence, his domestic abuse, his child abuse. We have proven over and over this man is continually, repeatedly committing crimes. And yet this one county and this state is out to protect him. Solely for what reason? When is Dakota County finally going to step back and say, okay, he's embarrassed us, we've done all this for him, no more? They're not. They're putting all their jobs and their exposure on the line. What truly is behind all this? I mean, the federal marshals incident explained to the level they would go to already be setting this all up before what is it that Dakota County and the state's trying to hide. I mean, you don't go to this type of a level, and that's, I think, what I was so upset when I called you, Michael. Jesus, I mean, they are so out to silence me. This is beyond the level I can't even imagine. And I thank God that friend was like, holy shit. I'm being lied. Oh, sorry, I swore. I apologize. I'm being lied to by my own government. And I think that person finally saw this and was like, wait a minute, they're saying this, and oh my God, this isn't you, but this is what they're saying. I think that, I don't know, you know what I'm trying to say?
Right. Well, I don't know many of you that are being chased by the U.S. Marshals, especially if you don't even have a warrant. So that's, I think, what Sam is saying is that the degree and level that the government at all levels is going to silence her, to go after her, to demonize her, and to make her life as difficult as possible is pretty extreme. And you're not supposed to do that in the United States of America. The U.S. Marshals
if Michael, I have 31 documents in a PDF. If you want to cite any of those documents, if you have them, I have them up on the screen.
Right. What you're seeing is the mortgage fraud, and you can see it like over the span of a year or two. It's sold at foreclosure like 4 times. Like, how does a property get foreclosed on 4 times in 2 years? By the 3rd and 4th time, when you're the title company and you see that, you don't think that might be fraud? Yeah, no, it's so blatant. And so think about the juxtaposition here. The U.S. Marshals are going after Sam. There's no warrant, nothing. She committed a crime where the most you can get is a year and a day. Mortgage fraud of $1 million. The county ignores it. The state ignores it. The federal government ignores it. The media ignores it. All right? What's going on here? Why is everyone attacking this woman? Why is everyone giving this man a pass? How come no one can answer that question? I mean, I don't know what else to say. Do we need to? I think we've talked about everything that we need to today. Is there somebody asking questions online or anything like that?
Let me take a look here.
Or you want to end it? Do we have to go for the full hour? Because I think we explained everything, and
there are a couple.
Let's take some questions from the audience.
We have something from Peter. He's talking about California, though. I don't believe Sandra's in California. He says CA divorces feature these repeated reality flips to cleanse the originating parties from the transfer history.
Right. Yeah. So then that's what that says is this scheme that Rucky's doing. It's happening in a lot of different places, and he's probably right. Anything else?
Let me go back to the full chat here, see if I can find anything.
Francesca, want to jump in? Say anything for a few minutes?
Francesca, you're back.
I was kicked off. I'm back because you can't get rid of me.
Laura Thompson says take him to probate court. However, first you need to get your evidence together and take it to the police and get a case opened. Now,
wait. Sam's laughing. Why are you laughing?
I'm sure she's tried that.
I'm really saying to the Lakeville Police Department, and that is when Judge David Knudsen issued a court order from the bench stating that you are not allowed to go to the Lakeville Police ever again for anything related to David Rucky. I could not go to the police if he was stalking me. I could not go to the police, and then they issued a court order saying that I was banned from a 5-mile radius to even enter in the file. So when I try to contact the police, they'll say, you come into our station, and then we'll talk about it. Oh, but you have a court order that says you can't come in, you can't enter the area, or we'll arrest you. I mean, that's how they've gone to this.
I don't know if people heard, but the judge in the case forbids her from going to the cops. Is that correct?
Right.
Wow.
Right. The judge in the case, that's David Knutson, thinks it's legal to tell someone they cannot go to the cops. And the media covering this thinks whatever this woman who I'm talking to right now has done is much worse than a judge who thinks you can order someone to not talk to the cops. That's who the media thinks is most important. Not what Judge David Knutson's doing or not doing, not what the cops are doing or not doing, certainly not what the U.S. Marshals are doing and not doing. Hey, how has probate court treated you in this case?
Oh my God, that's a whole. Well, we'll go back a minute.
Why don't you tell? Since we got some.
I didn't need some making contact, but I want the listeners to know that we had other people. We got around it by having other people file all these documents to the Lakeville police, demanding something done. So even though I couldn't report it, other people did report his crimes. They're still refusing to act upon it. So something's going on here.
All right, so a listener said you should have gone to probate court. Why don't you tell everyone what happened when probate court got involved?
Well, I did go to probate court. In fact, I had an irrevocable trust that I received at my birth from my parents. Like we stated before, my parents have done extremely well. They basically didn't have much at all. But my parents did, and I was given a trust, an irrevocable trust at my birth. And Judge David L. Knutson, in my divorce, awarded my trust to my ex-husband, as well as the trust that my parents gave to my children. He ordered me removed as the trustee, and David, my ex-husband, to be the trustee of my children's trust. So these are irrevocable trusts.
Irrevocable means you can't change them, but apparently you can if you're Judge David Knutson. He took an irrevocable trust from her parents to her and awarded it to her ex-husband and then removed her as the trustee to her children's trust, even though the word irrevocable was on both those trusts. So I guess to the person who said she should go to probate court, does she have another idea? Because I don't think probate court's going to help her. What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know about other states, but in the state of Minnesota here, if a judge takes away your trust, your will, why even do one? Because a judge's court order, there is no such thing as the irrevocable. If a judge orders it, therefore it be done. This is to an ex-spouse that wasn't even listed in the trust. He had nothing to do with my trust from birth.
Correct. This is an ex-husband of hers that's this guy in a divorce. And by the way, the trust was set up in a different county from the one that David Knutson was sitting in. So he was basically grabbing a trust that was filed in a whole separate county, and that other county let him do it. No judge in that county stopped them, which they could have, since they're the ones. It's called jurisdiction. You can't just do anything you want, anywhere you want. You have to have a reason for it. And he went ahead, grabbed the trust, made David Rucky the beneficiary, made him the trustee of her children, and there you go. And I guess she should go back to probate court because it worked out so well the first time.
Well, I think people are just trying to give advice.
For no other reason. I wasn't in jail. I didn't do anything wrong. There was no reason. You couldn't do it if there was, because it would have gone back to my family per the bylaws of the trust. If they were to take my trust for any bad reason, it would have to go straight back to my family to be my siblings. It did not go to a non-family member. But the point is, Judge Knutson didn't even issue even a reason for it. He just simply said, I'm giving it to him.
Right. This is the kind of corruption that guy Sergei Magnitsky, who they tortured in Russia, was exposed to. I mean, what's being described here, this is the kind of corruption that happens in oligarchy. So, that's what should frighten you about this case. And anyone who hasn't heard this particular part of the story, you understand how much has happened that you don't even know that this woman's trust was stolen. All right, you think her father wanted David Rucky to have any of that money? Of course not. And by the way, it's her father's money. He's the one who earned it, not David Knutson. not David Rucky, and it was stolen. And nobody cares. 2020 doesn't matter. Michael Broadford doesn't matter. Minneapolis Star Tribune, this stuff doesn't matter, but they'll all demonize this woman here. They'll demonize her until the cows come home. But illegally stealing from a trust, mortgage fraud, U.S. Marshals chasing after someone without a warrant, no big deal. That nobody cares about. And that's the sort of thing that's supposed to happen in, banana republics, third world nations. You're not supposed to be chased by the federal government with no warrant as a means of retaliating against you. And, and all of these people, they don't have an answer. When I reach out to them, why are you doing this? They don't respond. They just keep doing it. They think they're not accountable. They think they can do whatever they want. And to some degree they can. Because, in part because of what 2020 did, but also because people are sort of apathetic when they hear this story. Ted, how much time we got left?
We have almost a half an hour.
You mean not the mother of these children, of my own children. I've been deemed solely a donor. I am not on the birth certificate. I am not their mother. I can never have contact with them again. And if you want to go back to the trust, if I'm not their mother and I'm solely a donor, then why is he receiving money that my parents gave to their grandchildren? If I'm not their mother, then that's not their grandchildren.
Correct. Correct. So
this is insane.
On the one hand, what the same judge did is stripped her of all of her parental rights. But on the other hand, he's saying, but the trust that was supposed to go to you goes to them, and the trust that was supposed to be set up to go to them, where you were responsible for it, you're removed from that as well. Well, if she's not their mother, why is this trust going there? So on the one hand, as far as being a parent, they remove it. But on the other hand, as far as paying for them, make sure that she pays through the nose. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah, because Lisa Elliott actually broke, and Lisa my assistant attorney, who was, by the way, he has a Minnesota State welfare recipient. That's what he's acknowledged as a daddy. Lisa Elliott, his attorney, actually has in court document, Michelle McDonald has, she writes that Sandra Grazzini Rucky is solely a donor of the children to David Rucky. She is not considered their mother, and she signed it as her own affidavit. Now, I don't know how much more sick he is or his own attorney is to actually put that in a writing, which I don't know how many attorneys write their own affidavit, but that's what she wrote and submitted to the courts. That is a pretty morbid, sick thing. To say that you were married for 19 years, but you're solely a donor of the children to him. I mean,
right. You were their mother while you were married. Am I right?
Yeah, I was their mother while we were married, but once we were divorced, even though he basically sold the children from me. I walked away. Just let me and the kids live and be safe. So he says, I don't want them. I just want the company. So he didn't care about them then. He cares about them now. What's going on? But I was their mother then. But now I'm not their mother in any shape or form. I simply was a donor. Is that what the women are today? We are all just donors of our children?
Right. Right. So they've stripped you of all your rights, but not of all your responsibilities as their mother. So you have no rights to be their mother, but if you owe any money, you definitely have to pay that, or you're just going to jail. And they're going after you for child support as well, right?
Yeah, I'm I don't work, multi-millionaire, all that. I'm ordered to pay child support and alimony, correct?
Alimony and child support. She's homeless. He's got a mansion, but she's supposed to pay him alimony. Does that sound right?
And remember, this company was not his company. It was our company.
Correct. They built the company together. He didn't build it on his own. He got all of it, all of their possessions, and she's ordered to pay child support and alimony. Does that sound fair? And that's David Knutson. And hey, I wonder if any of the media covered this part. Did any of the media note that he got 100% of the marital property? Besides me, did any of the media note that? Nothing, sir?
Okay, are you back on?
Yeah, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
All right. Besides me, did any of the media note that he got 100% of everything and you're supposed to pay child support and alimony? Did anybody else note that?
Yes. Remember, 2020 was made very well aware of it, but I was lucky he was even allowed to take down my toothbrush. I was kicked out with nothing, not even my own property, nothing. Mm-hmm. He was given all the property of every home, every car, our company, and most of all our children. Mm-hmm. I was left with, and then when anything from my trust would arise, like something did, I think it was about a year ago or 6 months ago, something arose from the trust that was supposed to be given to me. Now, we've been divorced for 6 years. They said, per Judge Knutson's order, you're not even allowed to have money. So, therefore, he gets all that, too. And off went, I don't even remember the amount, hundreds of thousands of dollars just handed over to us. And not one dime of that, according to Knutson's order, it goes towards child support or alimony. And everybody from what she did, explain, I work in that company just as much as she did. Why did the whole thing get stripped? And he walks away with even the clothes on my back, and I'm out here with nothing, and I mean, there's nothing in it. I'm not asking for else, but you can't strip somebody and cut their legs off and say, okay, well, he started off, and now we'll work at gas station. I mean,
now, my memory must be shot because I don't remember any of this on 2020 when they broadcast your story. So I must have missed it when they talked about what you just said.
No, in fact, we did. I think I told you before that we had this all on recording, our actual interview with 2020. We have both recordings that they, I don't know if they knew or didn't know, that we had recorded. So you actually hear on the recording me telling them all the stuff that I told you. Mm-hmm. Which you have them.
That wound up on the editing room floor. That didn't wind up in the final broadcast. That she has nothing, that she's got to pay child support, she's got to pay alimony, he's got 100%. 2020 didn't think that was important. Bang up job by those guys. Right. Well, what about when the Minneapolis Star Tribune wrote about your story? I'm sure they mentioned it.
Hello?
Yeah, do you hear me?
Hello? Yes, yeah. Remember what I said was, Michael, we actually have the evidence that shows 2020 colluded with David Rucky, that they were running there. You actually hear me telling them all this information.
Oh, really?
The show and all over the place. So they were aware of it. They can't claim they didn't know.
And they certainly know now. All right, did anybody want to ask a question, make a comment?
I just want to say, first of all, which we said last show, the punishment, which was wrong anyway, but the punishment doesn't fit the supposed crime. Let's put it that way. The supposed crime, the crime that doesn't exist. Now, we already know that, and in most courts that we deal with, and in most interviews that I do, many of the interviews the viewing audience doesn't see. We do thousands upon thousands upon thousands of interviews, and now we're doing interviews outside of the United States. And these rogue judges, these judges that are making these haphazard decisions, that's one thing. But this case is clearly a retaliatory, corrupt, systematic, pre-planned, too many people are involved in it. And it's not just a matter of holding this judge accountable, but anybody that comes in agreement with him or obeys his orders needs to be held accountable. Any U.S. Marshals or anybody else that comes against this woman right now needs to be held accountable. Needs to be held accountable for what they're doing to her and her children.
I agree. There's an extreme here that I've never seen before. And as I said, I don't think most people are chased by the U.S. Marshals, even though they don't have a warrant out for them. And if you've heard previous broadcasts, this isn't the first time the U.S. Marshals got involved. And another time they had their SWAT team there.
Right.
The U.S. Marshals have already, their corruption has been exposed, and they're so brazen that despite being exposed, they went ahead with this bogus operation, presumably knowing I'd figure it out at some point, and not caring that it would be exposed again. I mean, think about that. Think about how corrupt and brazen just the U.S. Marshals are. But think about how many different layers of government are involved in this.
And the U.S. Marshals that are supposed to be working for us, the people.
This goes all the way through the state government into the federal government. It's all over the place. The tentacles of...
And Judge said no. This would have been a very kept secret, and it would have gotten the attention, and it would have gotten this crazy had they not gone they had to destroy my children and me.
Correct. I don't think
it's horrible.
They expected you to fight back. There was early on, after you had been kicked out of your house, you were at a hearing, and Judge Knudsen said, "Where's the effect that to David? Where's the effect that I thought you said she'd just go away?" Did you hear me or not?
Yeah.
Anyway, so explain what happened.
Basically, how we're finding out is they completely strip you of everything. You have no money, no car, you have a free home, and you're 2 feet in that county, in the 5-county area, and you're not allowed to have contact with anybody you've met prior to right now. How are you supposed to survive? Well, you're not supposed to. They survive. So they didn't expect it in less than 3 months. So first hearing, I think it was, I don't remember what it was, one of the hearings down the road, it was after 3 months. Judge Knudsen actually looked at David Rucky and said, "You told me she'd go away. You told me she'd go away."
All right, so I want, hold on, so anyone who didn't hear that, in September of 2012, she was forced out of her home, told not to talk to anyone, to leave the state, and basically stripped of all of her rights. And they didn't expect her to survive. The next court hearing, Knudsen, the judge, looked at her ex-husband and said, "You told me she'd go away, and you never did. And the reason they've escalated is because you never have gone away, isn't it?"
I've never stopped fighting for my children. And no matter what they say or they do or they claim or anything else, I have never stopped fighting for my children.
And that's why it keeps getting escalated, because the more they do, the more people they draw into their corruption. See, now the U.S. Marshals have to toe the line because they're so corrupt that the only thing they can do is destroy her, because if she lives and tells her story to a big enough audience, there is no explaining what they did. So the U.S. Marshals have put themselves in a position where you need to kill an innocent person to hide your corruption. That's why they're going after her so hard.
So this is why we have her on the show, though, Michael. This is why we have her on the show, though, Michael, because we have a big enough audience, and our audience is growing worldwide. Every day, our audience grows more and more. So now our eyes are on the U.S. Marshals and on this judge, because we know the truth about what's the true story of Sandra Grazzini Rucky. So good. Let's keep the eyes on the show. Share this video. Make sure more and more people see this. Make sure more and more people know the truth. And I know that for a fact, because I just left a court, that all these judges out there watching this show, they're admitting it right in their court during court watch. Okay, so judges, you're held accountable to your oath. U.S. Marshals, you're held accountable to your oath. Police, sheriffs, everyone, everywhere, you're held accountable.
Right. All right. Can we just end the broadcast, because we're just going to be like talking in circles?
Yes, we absolutely can. Here, let me get the music going. Thank you, Michael, for your time. Thank you, Francesca.
And I play Lara one more time, too.
Okay, I will, right at the very end.
I can't be quiet anymore. I can't keep watching anymore.
Hi. The reason for this video is to implore and encourage all of my friends, family and acquaintances to not purchase anything. Zip.
I can't shed more tears, I know it's time to fight. It's time to remove the mask. For once, let's be honest. We parents will not step back. Our children deserve the best. Punished for protecting them. Where is voices rise because our love is deep. Return the innocent, hear our hearts beat, hear our hearts beat. It's time to remove the mask. For once let us be honest. We parents will not stop back. Our children deserve the best.
Hi. The reason for this video is to implore and encourage all of my friends, family and acquaintances to not purchase anything, zip, zero, zilch, nothing. On January 3rd, 2018, we are protesting Family Court and the fact that they do not stand up for the best interests of children, and also that CPS, Child Predator Services, is not doing what's in the best interest of children. I hope you'll join me and Punish for Protecting January 3rd, 2018. Please message me if you have any other questions. Cheers. Bye-bye.